Known by an assortment of various keyword names across the internet, this picture means more to Joe Martinez than just viral internet fame. Why, you ask? Because when Joe was battling metaphorical demons in the form of addiction, this image of what he and many others believed to be a literal demon changed his life. It's a spooky and yet somehow beautiful story. One look at this creepy demon doggo inspired a man to give up a dangerous lifestyle and change his ways. But to internet critics, it may be nothing more than a perfectly timed good boy photobomb. Nearly everyone who has seen the picture has an opinion on it, many claiming the photo shows nothing more than a German Shepherd bouncing up behind the couple, while others believe it's a grade A genuine demon. But who's right? What are we really seeing in this photo? Unfortunately, there's little information surrounding the photo, most of which can be found in a news interview with Joe and his wife.
I couldn't believe what I was seeing at a 50th wedding anniversary.
And it languished in a photo album until this year, when they finally noticed what lurked over Joe's left shoulder.
Aside from that, we don't really have any photos for reference taken by other guests at the event, and no one has ever come forward to speak on the subject either. This means we're going to have to do some sleuthing if we want to know exactly what we're looking at. Subsequently, we must rely on our critical thinking skills and Photoshop for clues. There's no point in checking the EXIF data for manipulation clues, since it's most likely an old photo, the original probably taken with an analog camera, and then scanned onto the computer. And because I'm sure someone will mention it, I can tell you with absolute certainty that this photo has not been manipulated, nor has the object been added into the composition after it was shot. I know this because the pixels are uniform and uninterrupted, but we can talk more about this technique another time. The first thing we need to do is push the pixels in the photo to their limit in terms of tonal range. To do this, we'll need to amplify the contrast in the curves panel. You would never want to overload a normal photo like this, but we're not looking at a normal photo. We're looking at a possible paranormal mystery, and therefore we need to start our examination by looking for all the object and pixel lines in the photo. As with many potential evidence photos, this one is in very poor resolution. It's not the worst I've ever seen, but it's certainly nowhere near as refined as the high-resolution photos we have today. Therefore, boosting the tonal range helps make visible those clues which could have otherwise gone unnoticed. After increasing the lowest output range in the photo, aka the darker bits, we now have a couple of clues. Even though the image is full of dead, underexposed pixels, we've been able to reveal enough background detail to see that the alleged demon face has a completely separate depth of field. This proves the camera recognized it as being closer in proximity than the objects in the background. The separate color scheme of the dog head supports this theory. The more objects we can identify in the background, the more we can begin to objectively distinguish what is really going on in the picture. Because there are a few objects behind the couple in the picture, this lowers the chance of pareidolia. Let's take a look at the lower and side quadrants of the couple in the photo. There is a visible shadow around the lower half of the couple, meaning that there is lighting at an angle somewhere above them. There is, however, no shadow for a dog, and in this case it would be clearly visible. On top of all this, the perspective of the so-called demon dog also reveals a clue. In order for a normal German Shepherd dog to stand up at this angle and height in the photo, it would have to be standing on its hind legs at least 1 to 2 feet behind Martinez. And if it were, we would see a tail, arms, legs, but none of this is visible. Take into consideration the possibility of movement blur as the dog jumps into frame, which we absolutely do not see here, and also the angle that the dog would have been standing at to face the camera, and you'll start to see exactly why it's just not realistic that the creature in the image is a German Shepherd dog. The Martinez demon dog photo is not really as complex as it might first appear once you begin to decipher the objects in the photo. But even so, the question remains, is this a German Shepherd or is it some kind of paranormal entity? We can't possibly know whether or not it's a demon, but after a quick round of Photoshop, my analysis is that it's most likely not a German Shepherd, and it's definitely not pareidolia. There really is something unnatural standing behind Joe Martinez.